Hey y'all, it's Leah. I'm back with another idea for our ideas book. And this one is going to be a Triangle Pockets belly band. And it's going to go in the other section of my second ideas book. This one's got journal swats, tags, booklets and folios, and then others. So just kind of anything else that falls into that category, so, or doesn't fall into one of the other categories, because I have a separate book just for pockets. So finally made my tab, so I was very excited about that. So just need to make a cover for this book, and then that one will be all ready to go. So I saw this really cool idea in a Facebook group that I'm in. There was a challenge to make a belly band with pockets and then somehow use triangles on it as well. And so one of the members came up with what looked like this. So I wanted to try to reverse engineer it and figure out how to make it. And this is what I came up with. So I wanted to share it with y'all because I definitely want to add this to my ideas book. So it is a belly band. So it'll go in the book like this and be glued at the top and the bottom. And then you've got these fun little pockets on the sides. And so I just thought that was a really different way of doing a belly band, and I really like it. And I've got to toot my own horn. I love the papers that I chose for this one. This one just is so it's really soft and feminine to me, even though it's got like maps and stuff, which can sometimes be a little more harsh, but I think the colors on the maps are just really cool. So I was really excited with this one. So let's go ahead and get into making it. So we're going to first start with your belly band, and I would use cardstock normally for my ideas book. I'm using thinner paper just because I'm trying not to bulk it up as much, but you would definitely want to use cardstock for that. So you want it as long. This is made to go into a journal that is 8.5 tall. If your journal is going to be shorter than that, then you're going to have to kind of play around with the dimensions of your belly band length versus the size of the pockets. So this one fits, these triangles fit on an 8.5 tall piece of paper. So I cut my strip 1.5 inches wide and then by 8.5. Okay, then you're gonna need 3 squares of whatever, some kind of coordinating paper. They can be all the same paper. They could be 3 different papers. However, you could do 2 and 1, however you want to do that. These are 2 3/4 squares. Okay, so then you're going to cut each square into triangles. So I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and I just kind of eyeball it. I line it up on my grid and then cut my 2 triangles. Then you are going to fold each of the triangles in half, like this. Fold this one in half. And then you're going to glue them, give them a good crease, and then you're going to glue on this side. So not this long angle, but on the shorter side. And you want to try to get it as thin of a bead of glue as possible, because if it's too thick, it's going to make your pocket narrow. So again, I'm going on this side. So if you're looking at it like this, it's basically we're gluing the bottom of it. And so we're just going to try to get a thin little bead of glue on there. Okay. And then what you need to do to create the pocket is you're basically going to nestle one of these triangles inside of the other. So we're going to do this, and that's going to create our pocket. And so what I like to do is just kind of put a little dot of glue on either side. And then find our opening, and then we're just going to slide it in to where the corners meet, and then just give that a good press. And then I find using a bone folder to kind of open up the pocket, just make sure there's no glue anywhere. And so now we've got our little pocket. Okay, so I have 3 of those ready to go, and then now we can assemble. So what you're gonna do, of course, if you were gonna ink them, and I would have inked them like I did on this one, then it kind of shows you where you're gluing. But basically what I'm gonna do is glue this triangle, because I've got a triangle here. Let me see if I can get it to kind of show. There we go. Hopefully that shows. So we've got this triangle. That is what's going to get glued onto our belly band. And I'm going to go about 1/4 of an inch down a little bit from it, from the top. And so I'm just putting my glue on this triangle. So I know it's hard to see probably with the paper, but you can see where I'm lifting my finger. That's the triangle that I'm gluing, because that is going to go straight down on the belly band. And then we'll do that again. Make sure I'm on the same triangle. Okay, and then they're gonna go end to end. So this triangle is touching that triangle. And then our last one is gonna go like that. Okay, and I don't have as much room down at the bottom, so I will probably just cut this one flush and call that good. And then we are ready to glue it into our book. I'm not gonna make the tags for this one, but then you would make little tags that go in there. And mine ended up being about 1.5 inches. They're about 1.5 inches by 2 inches. And then that gets it to where it goes flush with the top. So that way you don't have a ton of stuff sticking out from your page, from the top of your page. But you could definitely, if you wanted it to do that, you could make them longer if you wanted them to go out on the top. Okay, so this is gonna go into our other section. So let's get our directions ready for screenshot. All right, so you're gonna cut your strip 1.5 by 8.5. Cut 3 2 3/4 squares, then cut each square into triangles, and then fold those triangles in half and glue the sides of each of them. Place one triangle inside of another, and you're just going to add a little spot of glue on each of the slant sides to secure it. And then repeat to create 3 pockets. Glue onto your strip at an angle, and then add your tags and glue the top and the bottom to a journal page. So let's go ahead and do that. Top and bottom. And we'll do this. Oops, getting that off camera. Glue that like that, and then that way I can just glue my directions in here, under that. There we go. And then get our title on there. So that is our Triangle Pockets belly band. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all.